Welcome to NTN Nightly. I am Nell Novel. This edition's top stories. Farmers receive training in production techniques to assure food quality. The National Consumers Association commends the government on protecting consumer rights. And the Institute of Architects in Lucia, Inc. to forge linkages in preserving the local architecture language. The Food Import Substitution Program, which commenced in 2017, continues to be nurtured by the Ministry of Agriculture with assistance from the government of Taiwan. A cohort recently received training in production techniques, including post-harvest handling. More from Anicia Antoine.
The Department of Agriculture, in collaboration with the Taiwan Technical Mission, through the enhancement of the efficiency of the production distribution supply chain in the fruit and vegetable sector project, also known as the 7 Crops Project, hosted a training session for a cohort of farmers in Region 2 on post-harvest handling of lettuce. The farmers were also introduced to new lettuce varieties, including the green and red rapid lettuce and the green and red romaine lettuce. This forms part of a series of training that has been done under the 7 Crops Project, which continues to fulfill its mandate of reducing St. Lucia's food import bill. According to production specialist at the Taiwan Technical Mission, Eric Chen, one of the main issues in lettuce production is wilting, caused by poor agricultural practices after harvesting. He describes this as one of the primary issues that the 7 Crops Project is attempting to address through the training sessions.
The main topic today is handling of post-harvest of different kinds of lettuce varieties. But we also introducing new varieties of lettuce because we're trying to help the farmer to fight against the climate change. And we all know that it's been a very big challenges for the farmers. So different varieties has different characteristics. Some of it can stay in the hot weather, which will help the farmer to harvest more lettuce in hot weather.
Perishables manager for Marcy Stores, Dunstan DeMille, attended the training session and spoke to the farmers about the importance of good post-harvest handling in order to present high-value products to potential buyers.
We find a lot of issues with when people harvest and how they treat the lettuce. Sometimes we get wilting because they do not understand that those things should not be exposed to heat. So sometimes they come in to deliver, but they have over there to go and there to go, and they'll do all of that, not noticing that the nylon, the lettuce is in, and we try to advise them not to put it in nylons, but the reality is sometimes it do happen. But by the time they get there, you get a lot of wilting, you get a lot of water loss. Now, what we buy, we could never sell. Because of that natural environment, you could never sell what you buy. Especially a product like lettuce, when we buy it, it's full of water. By the time, the guys take it to storage area, you have some water loss already. So if you have to go back and weigh that lettuce later, it will not weigh the same. So we want farmers to understand that there are certain things that they must do when it comes to post-harvest, when it comes to dealing with leafy vegetables, right? Once they fail to do that, those products go to waste.
The Department of Agriculture and the Taiwan Technical Mission encourages farmers across the island to use proper post-harvest handling techniques to ensure crop quality and minimize loss. From the Communications Unit of the Ministry of Agriculture, I am Anicia Antoine reporting.
The Parliament of St. Lucia during the last sitting approved amendments to the Consumer Protection Act. It was noted that the Act, in its current form, failed to address a number of issues, making it difficult to have the complaints of consumers adequately addressed, offering them little to no redress. The Consumer Protection Amendment Bill directly addresses these deficiencies. Former President of the National Consumer Association, NCA, Hubert James, says the act has been some 24 years in the making, and the NCA is relieved to finally see it coming to fruition.
The consumer has the right. You're selling a product, you must have total disclosure of that product. Let me just take what's the guarantee of that thing? Okay, let's for example, buy a fan. There's what you call reasonable expectation. If you buy a fan or a pair of shoes, you expect actually last at least 3 months or 6 months. You can buy a pair of shoes, so you go, it's about the soul come out. So why should you have trouble to either refund it or change the shoe? So therefore now the consumer has that right. They have that legal stature behind them where they can flex the muscles. Not in the wrong direction. If you're wrong, you're wrong. But as long as you're right, you need to exercise that right.
The amendments provide official avenues where consumers not only make complaints, but have them investigated by the relevant authorities to a conclusion. For the purpose of transparency and impartiality, the Consumer Protection Amendment Bill requires all involved parties, that is, the consumer, the commercial entities, and the Consumer Affairs Department, to write a report stemming from the incident. NCA's Public Relations Officer Marius Modest, welcoming the legislation, says consumers must know how to protect themselves.
If you're buying something, you must get a receipt, because a lot of the businesses in town, most of them will be selling the same thing. So if you come to my store and you say, well, Miss Isia, and they say, well, no, I can't remember you, your receipt will show that you bought the thing there, and then you're entitled to have that content get redressed from the business owner. So we are happy with the passage of that bill. In the first instance, that's always been said, you bring up a bill or Protection Act, it might not be perfect in the world. As you go along, you see where the problem is or where the loopholes are, you close it up.
The NCA will soon be embarking on a national education and a sensitization campaign geared towards achieving several goals, including enlightening consumers of their rights, means of seeking redress, and steps that can be taken to protect themselves as consumers, to name a few. The St. Lucia Bureau of Standards will join the global community in the observance of October 14 as World Standards Day. World Standards Day 2021 is being observed under the theme Shared Vision for a Better World. The St. Lucia Bureau of Standards is marking the observance with a series of activities. The feature activity will be the annual address to the nation by the Minister of Responsibility for the SLBS. Honorable Emma Hippolyte will deliver an address on the night of October 13 ahead of the October 14 observance. The activities, which will be conducted virtually, include a seminar on governance in organizations and the signing of a memorandum of understanding with the Ministry of Agriculture for the alignment of key services between the National Diagnostic Laboratory of that ministry and the St. Lucia Bureau of Standards. Since the onset of the pandemic, the SLBS has made a number of its services available online to improve access to the public. The SLBS has finalized work on its online store and will have a virtual launch of the platform as part of activities in observance of World Standards Day. The Institute of Architects St. Lucia, Inc. SLIA, recently installed a new executive. The organization is geared towards protecting professional architectural practice, facilitate public education on architecture, and forge linkages to enable progress in the architecture industry. President Jamal Francis made an appearance on the NTN Morning Brew Friday.
Myself and my Vice President, Howard Wells, were on the executive from last year, so we carried over President and Vice President. And then our Secretary is a new election, a new post this year, well, a new arrival to the executive. That's Dexter Myers. He's a fairly young architect, but pretty sharp, so he's joined us on the executive. We also have Mr. Keem Shallery as our treasurer, and then we have our floor members, Jeremiah Fulshire, who is the past president. He was the president before me, and Danny Delgado. He's a new member to the executive as well.
The president underscored the importance of architecture to society and its usefulness in climate adaptation and resilience.
It is part art, part science, but architecture is all about creating a space to make humans feel secure and comfortable. That has been the history of architecture. You know, when someone wants a house or when they want it, they want it for a specific purpose. So it's always functional. Now, there are three things that architecture must meet. Okay, it must be durable. Whatever you design and construct must be durable, so it must stand up to the surroundings. It must be functional, so it must be useful to the persons using that space or that building. Because architecture is not just buildings; you have external spaces, etc. And then there's the beauty aspect of it. That one of the major issues with resilience in St. Lucia has to do with the design and construction of homes and businesses. When a hurricane passes through an island, you find that the majority of the destruction is to small homes, apart from bridges and roads, it's the small homes. And that is where the majority of funds has to be spent now to rebuild. Look at what happened in Dominica, and that is because most of the time these homes are not designed by professionals.
Francis said while homes should be built to accommodate the preferences of owners, there is a need to preserve the architectural language of the Caribbean.
But I think that we definitely need to identify certain zones that are protected. Soufriere Town is one that stands out to me, even Groseley. There's certain areas that you have to sort of protect, and parts of Castries as well. If you look at places like New Orleans, New Orleans is a very modern city, but they have their traditional district where the
French quarter.
Right, where the facades are protected. The interiors of the buildings can be as modern as you want, but you have to protect the facades, and that helps to maintain some of the architectural language from that area. So we can do that sort of thing, and I think it's important that we do that, and we do need a national plan.
The Institute of Architects St. Lucia, Inc. will join global counterparts in commemorating World Architecture Day on the 4th of October 2021. The Ministry of Health, Wellness and Elderly Affairs informs the public that the Sexual and Reproductive Health Clinic at the Viewfort Wellness Center will be closed on Tuesday, September 28, 2021 due to unforeseen circumstances. The Sexual and Reproductive Health Clinic will resume its services on Tuesday, October 5, 2021. The Ministry of Health apologizes for any inconvenience caused. This is NTN Nightly. Primus Hutchinson is up next. Stay with us.
Breast milk is the gold standard that cannot be emulated. It is the perfect food for your baby.
Breast milk provides antibodies and protective factors which may fight against COVID-19 should your baby be exposed.
Breastfeeding reduces the risk for premenopausal, breast and ovarian cancers.
Breastfeeding is the most natural way to feed your baby. Breast milk provides all the nutrients your baby needs for the first 6 months of life. It requires patience. However, your baby deserves the best, and it's worth the effort.
Breastfeeding a baby up to 12 months improves jawbone development, thereby reducing misalignment of the teeth.
Breast milk is baby's first immunization. It protects against viruses, bacteria, and also prevents some chronic diseases.
If your child becomes sick with any illness, including COVID-19, it is very important that you continue breastfeeding.
A woman with COVID-19 should be supported to breastfeed her baby safely, hold her newborn skin to skin, and share a room with her baby.
After giving your baby only breast milk for the first 6 months of life, you can now slowly start introducing solid foods at the right textures. These include pureed vegetables, fruits, peas, and healthy cereals.
For more information, call the Nutrition Unit of the Ministry of Health and Wellness at 468-5359.
Welcome back. We join Primus Hutchinson for the NTN Nouvelle à Creole.
Monsieur ta, Janelle, Monsieur, Madame, département qui a une responsabilité pour formation en gouvernement Saint-Lucie, ça c'est GIS, à ce télévision nationale pays NTN, qui a présenté une nouvelle en créole, présenté Primus Hutchinson. Autorité pour toute affaire développement en Saint-Lucie, ça c'est DCA, après le gouvernement a apprêté un 7 membres nouveaux pour ménager l'opération organisation ça là. Ils étaient jeunes ensemble, mercredi passé, le 22 mois de septembre 2021. Chairman pour l'autorité ça là, M. Ignatius Jean, expliqué ces diverses responsabilités que l'autorité a ni pour adresser les vignes pour ces divers développements qui a fait à cette liste.
N'importe monde qui veut faire pes bagay si ou ka faire en caille, si ou ka faire un grand business, ou ka faire airport, ou ka faire l'hôpital, même gouvernement si posé entre plan yo pour nous ça garder et pour nous d'accord est-ce ça fait en place là yo ka fait là et puis manière qu'a fait là si qu'a détruit l'environnement qui manière qu'a affecté l'eau qui manière qu'a affecté manière moun ka aller la plage bon ça veut dire bord la mer toutes ces bagages ça là qu'a concerné ça nous qu'a fait en ici et puis nous pas là pour empêcher moun faire affaires ça nous voulons faire c'est pour régler manière nous qu'a fait bagages en pays et puis c'est pour ça l'année bonne ça là.
Selon M. Jean, quand le gouvernement établit bonne neuf ça là, il était nécessaire pour examiner ça qui était que j'ai fait avant parce que tout ça que j'ai fait et que nous pouvons faire qu'à gouverner par loi pays.
Nous tous qu'à gouverner par loi et tout travail nous qu'a fait c'est par loi et l'année guide et puis manière nous pour faire affaire nous et puis c'est travailleur d'ici c'est officier d'ici qui a fait ça puis c'est eux qui l'a tout le temps alors yo ni pour dire nous qui manière bagaille ka marcher qui manière pour nous conduire comme board et nous faire ces bagailles ça là et qu'après ça nous tenions l'autre application qui était devant nous parce que vous savez depuis gouvernement te couillé élection toute bagaille qui a été là pièce passe toute board toute bagaille croisée et puis comme ça nous tenions l'autre application depuis mois juillet à août et puis commencement septembre pour nous ça faire décision à ça et puis nous te fait ça et puis nous fini travail nous en bon temps et puis l'année bagaille nous voulait faire comme board à sous manière nous kay faire bagaille puis tout le monde kay faire bagaille différentes manières mais comme on dit c'est à son ça loi qu'a dit.
Monsieur Ignatius Jean, c'était un secrétaire parlement en gouvernement cette ici à passé et aussi c'était ministre qui tenait responsabilité pour le développement caille et l'environnement en gouvernement en l'année 2002 département d'ici qu'a tombé à bas ministre honorable Stevenson King. Projet pour éprouver production figue à cette ici trouvé beaucoup de chapeaux par mission technique des pays Taïwan. Projet pour éprouver production figue en pays, Jacques travaille pour essayer d'augmenter et pour virer nécessité industrie figue là et pour essayer de rebâtir confiance les femmes figue à cette ici. D'ailleurs, rapport à la division des informations au ministère de l'Agriculture, te fait comprendre pour raison ça la mission technique de Taïwan qui a continué pour bailler support et que ça là c'est une présentation tchèque pour assister après cyclone Irma parmi l'autre cyclone avec l'autre désastre décambré l'industrie figue là en pays cette ci. Ambassadeur des pays Taïwan Peter Chen déclare que Taïwan qui continue pour poursuivre assistance pour l'industrie agricole cette ci et qu'ambassadeur Chen dit que il va continuer pour supporter le projet là pour éprouver la production fixe cette ci et qu'il poursuivre assistance qui est reliable ensemble pays technologie nouveau pour bien accueillir l'industrie figue pays. Ministre de la responsabilité agricole, la pêche, développement commun et sécurité manger, ça c'est honorable Alfred Prosper, c'est très plaît et que montrer charitable, montrer gratitude à ce compte PEP ici pour des grandes contributions gouvernement Taïwan j'ai fait pour le développement agricole et généralement pour l'économie en cette ici. Selon un rapport du Bureau d'information au ministère de l'Agriculture, le ministre Prosper notait qu'il y a une somme de 3,2 millions de dollars j'ai en place pour l'année 2021 ou 2022. Pendant 500 000 qui sont sortis en grand fonds qui est en place pour projet ça là, et le rapport au département d'information agricole là dit qu'il a montré côté ministre agricole là déclaré que support ça là kay assisté industrie agricole là autant après si quantité habitation figue trouvé dommagé. Il dit que assistance là kay aidé pour rebâtir habitation figue et prouver à sous canal système service de l'eau aussi pour contrôler vermine et l'autre maladie qui a dévalisé l'industrie fixe ici. Parmi plusieurs autres démarches pour aider bâtir résilience à l'industrie agricole nous. Le ministre Prosper a déclaré que le gouvernement ici en collaboration avec le gouvernement Taïwan qui a continué pour assister efforts pour éprouver sécurité manger et pour aussi établir meilleurs services pour les femmes ici. Fondation pour le développement régional en Soufrière, Nion Bodnef, pour continuer le travail pour l'année qui va venir. Bodnef là, a conduit M. Ernest Auger, un professionnel de business qui a plusieurs années d'expérience en aménagement business. Durant une conférence et puis les journalistes, vendredi le 17 septembre 2021, M. Auger dit qu'il est appréciable pour apportement ça là. Et dit aussi apportement qui est passé à une position pour faire plus de contribution pour le développement soufrière. Il a ajouté que soufrière ni besoin monde qui ça fait bonne contribution pour le développement. Il fait comprendre manière ça a pénétré les plus grands citoyens qui ont dormi à ce marche établissement ça là. Alors il était à voudre ouais l'année programme en place pour assister ces plus grands citoyens soufrières et aussi développement éducation pour les jeunesses. Chairman nouveau pour l'Organisation pour le développement soufrière annoncé que ses directeurs sortent divers professionnels avec expérience. Par exemple, M. Hilary Charlemagne, c'est un instituteur, ça veut dire teacher à l'école, et un jeune business. M. Kennedy Jean, c'est un instituteur et aussi un farmer. M. Innocent Emab, c'est un grand grec culturel. M. Aquinas Sylvester, engagé en affaires à pêche et yacht. Et Dr. Tadi Alexis, c'est un docteur médical. M. Auger mentionné en particulier Dr. Alexis, qui c'est pas parce que c'est un docteur hot soufrière, mais plus important, il a aidé, particulièrement comme maladie coronaire qui a menacé le pays autant. Au rapport du département d'information agricole là, qui a dit qu'il avait montré côté, M. Auger mentionné des Grecs qui M. Sylvester qui a assisté à développement business yacht en soufrière. Et ça c'est côté notre bout. Nous faisons là, monsieur, madame, je remercie autant pour garder, pour avoir une invitation, pour jeune plus encore. Si Dieu conserve la vie, nous allons présenter l'autre nouvelle en créole. Avant de présenter Janelle Vier, je vais encore d'eau pour prendre toutes les précautions nécessaires pour protéger vous, la famille, et les membres publics, des affaires maladies qui ont dévalisé le pays autant et mauvais, dans une mauvaise manière. Nous n'y pour précaution, servir masque, sanitize, rester distance avec les affaires, je vais l'année bloquée avec l'autre qualité de bagaille qu'a fait toujours. Monsieur, madame, précaution pour nous sauver la vie en pays ici. Et ça, c'est mon vieux présenteur, Janelle.
Merci, Appeal Primus. We now take a look at the weather.
Forecast for St. Lucia valid for the next 24 hours. Moisture and instability associated with a trough system, coupled with a light wind regime, will generate occasional cloudiness, showers, and isolated thunderstorms. A hurricane has formed in the Atlantic. Category 1 Hurricane Sam is forecast to rapidly intensify. At 11 a.m. today, the center of the hurricane was located near latitude 11.8 degrees north, longitude 43.7 degrees west, or about 1,365 miles or 2,200 kilometers east of the Lesser Antilles. Sam is moving towards the west near 14 miles per hour or 22 kilometers per hour, and this motion is expected to continue throughout tonight. A turn toward the west-northwest is expected over the weekend. Maximum sustained winds remain near 75 miles per hour or 120 kilometers per hour with higher gusts. However, rapid intensification is forecast to resume, and Sam is likely to become a major hurricane on Saturday. Interests in the Leeward and northern Windward Islands are advised to continue to monitor the progress of this system. A tropical wave located over the eastern tropical Atlantic is moving westward near 12 miles per hour or 19 kilometers per hour.
That brings us to the end of NTN Nightly. Join us next time at 7 p.m. with a repeat at 7 a.m. You can also catch up with us anytime on the St. Lucia Government Facebook page or YouTube channel. I am Janelle Norville.